Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm starting a new series that I will do every so often called Deal or No Deal. It's where I will ask you guys on my Instagram to comment below some mock trades that I will feature in my video, and I will say if I think it's a deal or if it's not a deal. Thanks to 09 Chris for coming up with this series. It's a really clever idea. If you aren't subscribed to him yet, I don't know what you're doing. He's one of the best hockey channels out there, so make sure you go subscribe to him. Also, thanks for all the comments on my Instagram. I can only choose 9. I can't choose everybody, so if you're not in the video, don't worry about it too much. I will be doing a lot more of these in the future. And before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I love the support already. 300 subscribers is a lot to start off, and I really appreciate it. So let's get right to the video, guys. First up, we have a trade from Alex Maniatopolis11. I hope I'm saying that right. He says Sean Monahan, Andrew Mangiapane, and a second round pick for Taylor Hall. Now, I actually really like this trade. I feel like both teams would benefit off it. They're swapping 2 good forwards, plus Arizona would get a young talent in Mangiapane, who's only 24 and had a really good season this year. He actually broke out this season, and I do think Arizona would win this trade. I feel like both players could use a new team, and I'm actually going to say deal on this one. I do think Arizona would win this trade, but I do feel like both teams can really benefit with swapping 2 good forwards. So yeah, deal on this one. Next up, we have a trade from Nick Gray 940, who says Teuvo Teravainen for Tyler Johnson, a first round pick and a third round pick. Now, I really like this trade. You have Tampa Bay getting Teravainen, who is really young, and he's starting to find his game a lot these last couple of seasons. He's really improving out there. And you have Tyler Johnson going to Carolina, who is still a good top 6 forward. You can't compare him to Teravainen, but he would still get the job done in Carolina. Plus, Carolina gets a first round pick and a third round pick, so I'm gonna say deal on this one. The winner would be too early to tell. It all depends on who Carolina would get from the first round pick and the third round pick. So yeah, I'm going to say deal on this one. Next up, we have one of the players in the thumbnail. We have Ollie1550 who says Jack Eichel to Detroit for Mantha, a conditional first in 2021, a second in 2020, Hronek, and Cider. So a pretty big trade here. So I don't know what the conditions are on the first round pick, so I'm just going to say it's a first guaranteed. Now, I don't like this trade. Reason being is because I just think this trade would not happen. I don't think Detroit would give up that much young talent for Eichel. Even though Eichel is such an elite player, Detroit wouldn't give up their future to get one future player back. So I'm going to say no deal on this one. Buffalo would love if this happened. I think Buffalo would gladly take that, but Detroit just would not offer this. They would not give it that much for Eichel, so no deal here. Next up, we have a trade from Thomas Shahoot, who says Jeremy Brocco and a second round pick for Josh Manson. Now, this trade is good, but I just don't feel like Anaheim's getting enough back. Toronto gets the defenseman that they really need for their team, but Anaheim gets a AHL forward who hasn't played a game in the NHL yet, and they don't even get a defenseman back. So I'm gonna say no deal, just because Anaheim isn't getting their defenseman back. I think if Toronto would have thrown one of the bottom paid defensemen on it, I would definitely say deal to this, but I just don't think it's gonna go through. Next up, we have a trade from K98 who says bring Holtby to New Jersey for a first round pick. Now, I love this trade. It's perfect for both teams. New Jersey gets their starting goalie they need, and Washington gets rid of Holtby's contract because he is a free agent this season. So if Washington would trade him, they would get a first round pick back that is guaranteed at least top 5 if it's this year, and maybe top 5 next year. So this is a win trade for both teams. I'm going to say deal. Both teams would love this. New Jersey gets their goalie, and Washington gets a high draft pick to help their future, and they have Samsonov in the net anyways instead of Holtby. So yeah, deal for sure. Next up, we have a trade from Dylan Winecoop 9729 who says Ryan Murray, Josh Anderson, and a first round pick in 2021 for William Nylander. This trade It's close for me, because yes, trying to get that defenseman they need, but Josh Anderson, if you compare him to Nylander, it's just not even close. I feel like Columbus needs to give up a little bit more to get Nylander, so I'm gonna say no deal on this one. I think if Columbus would have added another forward or another draft pick, I would say deal, but I just don't think Toronto's getting enough back for this one, so no deal from me. Next up, we have another trade with Jack Eichel in it. We have a trade from Kyle Button, who says Jack Eichel to Boston for David Krejci, Charlie McAvoy, and 2 first-round picks. Now this trade is way better than the other trade that sent Eichel to Detroit. I feel like it's a lot more even. Boston's gonna get their superstar player to play with Pastrnak maybe, or Marchand. And then Buffalo gets a great return as well. It would suck to lose Jack Eichel because he's a superstar player, but you're getting David Krejci, lots of veteran experience, he can really help that team out. Charlie McAvoy, young defenseman, amazing talent, and then 2 first-round picks that can be anything. So really even trade. I'm gonna say deal. I think it's a great trade for both teams, and if it were to happen, I think both teams would benefit off this trade. So I'm gonna go ahead and say deal. Moving on, we have a trade from Joe Boyvin 2, who says Matt Murray to Colorado for Pavel Francouz, Ryan Graves, and a 2021 first-round pick. Now I actually like this trade a lot. Matt Murray actually recently unfollowed the Penguins on Instagram. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but he unfollowed Pittsburgh on Instagram. So I think a trade is happening soon. I feel like Jerry can really handle the crease now in Pittsburgh, so Murray might be on the move. And if this trade were to happen, I would say deal. I think Pittsburgh gets a great return. They get a great backup in Francouz, who really showed himself this season. Young defenseman in Graves, who can help Jerry, and a first-round pick. So great trade here. If Murray does leave Pittsburgh, I think this is a perfect trade for both teams. For the last trade of part 1 of Deal or No Deal, we have a trade from Ben Richard, who says Brandon Saad to Montreal for 2 third-round picks and Paul Byron. Now, as a Habs fan, I would love this trade. Brandon Saad would really help out our core for the forwards. He's a great player. He had a pretty bad season this year, but it's so much time for him to bounce back because he's still 27. He still has a lot of years left, but I just don't think Montreal is giving enough back. Paul Byron's a great player, but he's older. He is fast, but I just don't think Paul Byron in 2/3 would do it. So I'm going to say no deal. I think if Montreal would add a second-round pick, I would say deal, but 2/3 in Paul Byron I think is just too short. So it's a no deal from me. And that does it for this video of Deal or No Deal. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these, probably like maybe twice a month. We'll see what happens. But anyways, thanks for watching this video. I appreciate all the support in the last one. Let's see if we can do it again here. If we can get to 500 subscribers by the end of the week, that would mean so much. So like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.